The SEC is just bonkers this year. We're going to discuss what's gone down and what happened this past weekend in the SEC coming up next here on Locked On Sooners.
You are Locked On Sooners, your daily podcast on the Oklahoma Sooners. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Again, thanks for making Locked On Sooners your first listen every single day. Shout out to all the everydayers out there. Let's go through the SEC, Jay, because there was a lot of interesting action there.
SEC.
Where do you want to start? You want to start with the biggest game of the weekend, that Texas A&M LSU matchup. First of all, phenomenal uniform combo. Like, the Aggies all black might be my new favorite, and I hate to say that.
So I don't have a problem. I think the all black is cool. The only issue I ever have with any team wearing all black is when it's like literally only black and white. Give me accents of your primary color. Like, no school hates their team color more than Iowa State because they wear them black jerseys as often as they possibly can. West Virginia's coal miner black ones, they're pretty clean. Give me some hints of the blue and the yellow. Give me some hints of that cardinal and the yellow. Give me some hints of that Aggie maroon in that black and white, just so you can see. Like the way Tennessee's going to do their blackout this week. It's literally all black with orange and some white accents. Love that. That is my favorite look. I just don't want people to hate their own team colors. But, man, that's a big one. I am curious how that tailgate looked because I went to the one in the Grove. It's as advertised. But College Station was rocking for that game. And Elko, man, he's proven me right. I'll just say that.
Yeah, he's shown up in a big way. And this might be our first beef here. I prefer the all black without the color involved. Give me the all black with just a little bit of the white. And I like that they had a little bit of it was the Aggies wasn't even white. It was just a different shade there. It was, I don't know. Yeah. I thought it was perfect. But no, man.
I'm with you.
Texas A&M, dude, they got down 17-7 in this game and outscored LSU 31-6 in the second half with Marcel Reed at quarterback, and he only threw 2 passes. He was 2 of 2 for 70 yards, but he ran for 3 touchdowns, all in the red zone. Just gave them fits. The Ags ran for 240 yards on LSU. So if you're looking at a way to make some hay against the Tigers, running the football might be it.
One of the most dangerous quarterbacks out there, one of the most dangerous teams. I mean, they literally went out there and played the Michigan playbook, and they just ran it down their throat with all power.
It worked.
I will have Sooner fans in here like, oh, we probably should have looked at Elko as a coach, blah, blah, blah. Let me explain to y'all why Elko is so successful right now. You got to remember, the dudes that are juniors and seniors on defense right now are dudes he recruited when he was defensive coordinator 2 years ago. Mm-hmm. These are his guys. Was it Shamar Turner in the middle? I think it's Turner. That was one of his prize defensive line recruits when Elko was defensive coordinator at A&M. And so there's a lot more continuity there because all these dudes know him. They played in his defense. They understand his scheme. They're like, oh, yeah, Elko was here when I was a freshman. He was the one teaching me. He was here when I was a sophomore. Right now I'm a senior or a redshirt senior, and I get to play underneath them. He came back to the perfect spot because this is where he had came from. He had seen some players. I mean, Marcel Reed's new to him, but, Weidman's been around forever, it feels like. It's been like for 30 years, it feels like he's been a quarterback for this team. But Weidman was a recruit when Elko was still there before he took the Duke job. So he's killing it. It's gonna be interesting to see them this week against Texas A&M. Against South Carolina. Mm-hmm. The spread came out for that game, John. What do you think it is?
It's in Columbia, right?
Yep.
I'm going to say Texas A&M by 6.5.
Ooh, wow. That's a big spread. No, much lower. A&M is a 2.5 point favorite in this game. It's low, which tells you actually how good South Carolina is, especially at home. I think it's because it's going to be a run team versus, this South Carolina defense, which is pretty stout, especially the defensive line. It's going to be fascinating to see if they can prevail. But the question I'd ask you on this one, though, is LSU in trouble?
They're a little bit in trouble. I mean, they can score and they can throw the ball. Garrett Nussmeier is really, really good. but man, he was really loose with the football. 3 interceptions. That's not going to do it for you. I think they have a chance to still make the playoff, obviously, but it's going to be a long shot to get into the SEC title game, I think, at this point. But, dude, I think I counted it the other day. There were 8 teams, I think, with 2 losses or fewer in SEC play with, 5-6 weeks left to go. I mean, there's a lot that could change in the conference standings. I mean, just look right now. Like, everybody thought it was going to be Texas. Well, Georgia beat Texas. And then Georgia got beat by Bama. And Bama got beat by Tennessee and Vandy. So, like, everything is crazy and up in the air. Speaking of Vandy, played Texas pretty close. It was a 1-score game in Nashville. Listen, credit to the Texas Longhorns. That is a scrappy Vanderbilt team. I know that's not in our worldview to think Vanderbilt is any good, but circle back to like the Kansas Jayhawks of 2021, right? That was a really, really scrappy Kansas Jayhawks team that you felt lucky to come away with a win. I think Texas is just happy to get a win on the road in a place where, hey, they knocked off Alabama just a few weeks ago.
Yeah, they just wanted to get out of there alive. That's like the most important thing for them. We just want to survive this game and go. And I told everybody there was no way Texas was covering that spread. And
no way.
Obvious. There was zero chance that Texas covered that spread because Vanderbilt does a really good job of running clock. That has been that's the whole MO of them. Mm-hmm. And it's funny because Hugh Freeze is just talking about recently he's tired of playing against Diego Pavia because this will be, his 3rd time seeing him, because Pavia was at New Mexico. Was it New Mexico State? Yeah, New Mexico State Aggies. And they beat them at Auburn. Mm-hmm. So, look, you can talk about what you want to about a team's home, but once you lose to a 4-acronym school, you can't say anything. That's right. The words got to go. Don't give me anything. And the problem for them is they're going to see this dude again this weekend. I'm so excited. That 11 o'clock kickoff is going to be the one game that I'm going to be tuned in so hard. Now, Auburn is a 6.5 point favorite at the crib. Feels a lot higher than I would expect, and they actually think Auburn's going to win this game. But people, like you said, you can't sleep on Vanderbilt because honestly, when you look at them this season, John, no one's blown them out. Or gotten close to it. Every game was within 4 points that they've lost. The Georgia State game, which ridiculous, shouldn't happen, but whatever. Missouri, overtime, 3-point game. Texas, 3-point game. Everything has been close. They're just that good, I guess you could say.
Yeah, take Vandy in the points pretty much anytime you get a chance to this season because that's easy money. The other ranked matchup that is of interest to the Oklahoma Sooner fandom, Alabama absolutely dominates Missouri 34-0. I know Brady Cook goes out in this game and Drew Pine finished it. Drew Pine, I think, threw 3 interceptions in this one, averaged just 3.5 yards per pass attempt. Well, Brady Cook, he only averaged 2.5 yards per pass attempt in this one. Just absolute killer. I thought Missouri was going to be able to play a little bit closer than this. It was never close. Even with Brady Cook in the game, it was never close.
Yep, Pine was 6 for 12, 42 yards. Cook, 7 for 12, 30 yards. It was like they for real could not. Well, Pine threw 3 interceptions as well, but it looked like they could not figure out how to pass the ball on this Bama team. And Bama just did. They went old school Nick Saban, Alabama. They just ran down their throats. 271 rushing yards in this game. I think that was the thing that fascinated me the most. It was like, oh, they're like, no, we're not going to even try to throw it. We're good. We're going to run it down your throat and we're going to tell you to try to stop us. And they couldn't. Even though Marcel Carroll got them 80 yards and was Jamal Roberts got them 71, they had 167 yards rushing in this game net. Missouri did not do bad on that capacity, but Bama was like, you're not going to throw the ball, which is your strength. Luther Burden, 3 catches for 3 yards.
I saw a Mizzou fan talk about how they've wasted Luther Burden's time in Columbia with the quarterback play that they've gotten. You love to see it. The other one that was really fascinating, and I'll let you maybe share one of your favorite kind of takes or moments. Actually, we got to get to this really more than anything. Talk about your time in the Grove, in Oxford. What was it like there?
So, look, if you ever get the opportunity to get out there for a game, go. Find a team that you hate. I mean, I think Texas should end up going there in about 3 years, maybe 4. Get out there. Well, yeah, 2 years or 3. Go out there. Go see it. It's cool. They basically like 4 to 6 acres. We know it's called the Grove, but it's like tents. And it felt like I was at a giant flea market / swap meet with all of the tents that were up. And once you start walking through the tunnels, it's like you can't find an exit. It's amazing. Like I had to set breadcrumbs down to find my way back to the trail that I came through. But I made sure to do that. I had some peanuts and some breadcrumbs. And I just kept dropping it as I walked and turned a few places. And I was like, all right, that way back to the stadium. And I figured it out. But it's huge. Everybody was very hospitable. They were nice. And I actually, when I posted that tweet, I've got a good 50 plus Ole Miss fans in there saying how much they loved Sooner Nation, how great we travel, and how awesome they were to hang out with. They're like, yeah, you guys can come back anytime. We had a blast. They only saying that because they won the game. If they had lost the game, they probably would have been like, nah, y'all can't come back here. Y'all bad luck for us. But it was a good time. It's one of those tailgates that I was more impressed because I've always heard the legends of it, and legends rarely ever live up to reality. I think this one may have surpassed it.
That's awesome. What was the stadium like?
Stadium was cool. About 60,000 people. It wasn't massive. I think the best part about it was seeing everybody in that powder blue color.
Yeah.
Now that's an alternate jersey I love. And when all the fans are wearing it too, that matching powder blue / really, really light denim that they were. Oh man, it pops beautifully with the sky. So they did a great job with that. Stadium is cool. It's older. You can tell that's one of the oldest ones in the country, but it didn't feel like it felt old, but it didn't look like it was run down. Let's put it that way.
Right.
It's definitely an older stadium, but it was definitely one that I want to go back to. I enjoyed my time out there in Oxford. Got to make that happen again.
And what was the vibe like during the game when, hey, Oklahoma actually gets a 14-10 lead just before halftime? Ole Miss starts turning some things on in the second half. What was kind of the energy, the feel around you like?
No shade, but I think Cincinnati was louder when we played them last year. Oh, it's not very loud. Like it's cool, but it's not deafening. Like
it didn't sound loud on TV.
No, it's not. It's not. I think for them the biggest problem is that they spend a lot of time at the Grove, and by the time they get to the game, they're not rowdy drunks. They're more
just
drunks.
Chilling.
Yeah.
Like they're going to the beach later, something like that.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's wasting away in Margaritaville. They lost their shaker of salt. So
fair point.
Anyway, yeah. So dude, that's really awesome. Thanks for sharing your experience there. Yeah, we'll have to get down to the Grove at some point. Hopefully it's not too long before Oklahoma makes a trip back there because I want to go there and I want to take my wife. I think that'd be a really cool place to visit as well. But that's going to do it for today's episode of Locked On Sooners. Thanks so much for tuning in, being a part of the show. Subscribe to the show wherever you get your podcasts. We're free and available on all podcast platforms and on YouTube. Also follow the show on all the social media platforms, TikTok, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, wherever you like to do your social media, we are present. Follow Jay at Unfair Sports. Also go check out his channel, Unfair Sports, on YouTube. You can follow me at John9Williams. You can read my work covering the Sooners over at SoonersWire.com. But until next time, he's Jay. I'm John. Boomer.
Sooner.